You're watching the Entrepreneurial SME, and if you've just joined the conversation, the spotlight is on cybersecurity and how SMEs can be proactive. My guest is Malose Mabusela, Head of Sales and Marketing at MakwaIT. If you'd like to get in touch with me or share some of your thoughts, use our socials on the screen below. Malose, who attacks, right? So I'm a South African business doing fairly well. Are my threats here or everywhere in the world? Could I be looked at by somebody else I don't know in the middle of nowhere?
I mean,
Why?
There are trends and trends by geographic locations. You know, you're fishing. We see that a lot in the East. I mean, in the West African space. But however, it's anywhere and everywhere. You know, so it's not saying in the Middle East you'll get an attack that looks so and so, or something from the US will be an attack solely on cryptocurrency or big banks. It is anywhere and everywhere. And I mean, even locally, there's some clever people, and these are smart guys, you know, that are trying to attack and penetrate your personal or your business space. Now,
a lot of organizations, at least the medium-sized ones and those that grow, will have IT departments, right? Do they have the necessary skills for cyber security? Because I don't suppose that everybody has it. It has to be a specialized skill.
100%. It is specialized skill. However, but the access to the specialization is improving, and the barriers to entry, again, are being lowered. And I think also in the past where the challenge was the jargon, you know, the language used on what it is that's happening. So as much as it can be specialized, but of course, the bigger the environment, the more specialist you have to get. However, the generic space of it is still quite accessible, from medium even to the small guys.
Operationally, now I know when somebody steals from me, they can steal my bread, right? Operationally, could they mess up my systems, my 100%.
Processes? They can. They can mess up your website and load content that works against you if it's an e-commerce or an online platform, you know, maybe content that's untoward that works against you for your...
Is this why sometimes we wake up to messages that, you know, our own banks have shut their own websites or whatever the apps, because could it be that somebody has just hacked into them?
100%. You know, I mean, even people have social media accounts being hacked. So it just shows you that the spectrum is very wide in terms of penetrating of information, because people want to pretend to be something else that they're not, to access something, to gain commercial yields in the long run.
So the typical viewer of this show is the bakery owner you spoke about.
Yes.
Can we talk about how the basic things they can do that as we end here tomorrow, they don't wake up with their bread list all over the place, or their yeast being used by somebody else?
Besides speaking to MakwaIT, the basics that they can do is change your passwords often.
What is often? We hear this a lot.
I mean, ideally at least every 30 days, or as often as you can. And devices do help you with tough and aggressive passwords. Leverage that technology, because again, those are encrypted. You know, and I mean, even things like separating roles in the organization, not granting access to everyone, everyone not having access to each and every file, can help with regards to that baker. I mean, and even things like access control and just the basics of locking devices when you step away if you're working from a coffee shop, you know, and again, when working remotely at coffee shops, for example, the type of stuff you communicate about in those environments, because the cybercriminals are not just sitting virtually, but even in the physical.
In fact, space. Speaking of which, I've been told that if you work in public spaces, avoid using public Wi-Fi.
That's where I'm getting to. So, I mean, now there are controls that are much tougher, you know, and you may see it even now on your browser, when you search the internet. There's VPN. You know.
Yeah. What is that?
I mean, VPN is a unique security method that says it doesn't communicate your exact location of where you are. It doesn't also allow the broader network space to know who you are, to identify you easily. It confuses the enemy, right? So it's like working incognito.
Yeah.
It is there to protect you. It's a super shield on the internet, and now public Wi-Fis are embedding stricter security measures, because again, the implementers and the owners of that infrastructure are driving the basics of having secure, so that the users can feel secure.
do I have recourse? I wake up tomorrow, I have been cleaned out, they've taken my IP on this big project that I'm working on that was going to make me a multimillionaire. Do I have recourse? Could I go to court? Is there a specialized court for this?
From my understanding, you can, and you should, but it's difficult because, again, the volumes are so great, you know, and the criminals who have access to, who intruded into your space are most often unknown. So where do you go? And you're left with more questions than answers. But as also the world evolves, the cyber criminals are also being we're proactively getting to identify how they work, you know, and it's a big space that the entire world is focusing on, so that again people can just focus on what they do, is run a baking business and not worry about cyber threats. 2
last questions, as briefly as we can do. Who should I trust? You know, I don't know now. When we started, you say I could be hit by the same people who are giving me advice. Who do we trust as SMEs?
Leverage the big guys. I mean, they implement it every day. You know, there's someone you know who works at a bank in the IT division. There's someone you know that works at a large manufacturing business. Ask them, what IT principles do they apply? And perhaps even those vendors do have specialization in small, medium enterprise business, such as the small bakery. So I think it's more about communicating to the people you know who are in the space, experts, and also just consulting various avenues that do exist, like your trusted resellers such as ourselves, your original equipment manufacturers.
On that note, and I don't do this often, how much would it generally cost me? If I came to MakwaIT, this is a time to post now, how much would it cost me to do the basic stuff?
I mean, it can cost you anything from as little as 1,000 rand, you know.
A year?
It could be a
month?
year, it could be a month. It also, it varies, Rams. So if you had to look at how much does it cost to secure your house, you could put in 1 gate, burglar bars, an alarm system, a pet, an actual physical guard at your house. So it depends on your need, but it can be altered to you and made affordable to fit your budget.
This is very serious stuff, mate, and I hope that everybody listening is aware that they need to protect themselves. Thank you very much for watching the Entrepreneurial SME. From me, Rams Mabote, good night and God bless.